I think Scottish traditional music means to me community and sharing and passion. I think I love traditional music because it just makes me feel great. It makes me feel part of something. And when I sit in a session, it's not all about virtuosity or technique. It's all about playing in unison, and I just love it. It just makes me feel good. But I suppose it makes me feel Scottish as well. I think what has changed is there's more people doing it. I was actually thinking about this morning while I was getting the drill. I was thinking, it's just interesting actually, because I was reflecting on it, and I was thinking through the 80s, who did we have in the 80s? We had Silly Wizard, probably coming to near the end of their time, and you'd had your Ossians, and there was the Easy Club, were a big band for me. Camper Cayley were great, actually, they were really good, but I was trying to work out where it all changed, because a lot of people would maybe look to Martin Bennett in the 90s.
Yeah.
But actually, I was thinking about this whole tipping point power of context.
Right.
And I think the Fashion, I think the amount of people that started to do it through the Fashion were bringing lots of people together. And I think and traditional music, when everyone's doing it, is amazing. It's just so, it just feels so good. It's back to that session thing. And I think Martin Bennett came along and he actually showed people that you could make it modern. I remember teaching when Martin Bennett was at his height, and the young people really related to him. They never listened to anything else. Because also around that time of Martin, there was the Pete Bogs were doing their thing and a little bit, and Tartan Amoebas.
Yes.
They were doing kind of thing, but Martin was really relevant. The kids loved him.
Aye.
And I think in many of his influences been about a sort of a tipping point for all the bands, Treacherous and everything, to actually to feel confident to take traditional music and be really modern with it. Right. Martin was doing stuff with folk music that was in the charts.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the youngsters, because I used to say to all the young ones in the class, and what are you listening to this week? And they'd go, I just talk about pop music and Martin Bennett. And other stuff. Pete Bogs and that didn't interest them. I think in terms of my own personal thing, my big tipping point at the start was Phil Cunningham and Silly Wizard. But I was brought up with lots of different kinds of music. And my dad listened to progressive rock and lots of New Orleans jazz, and I think I've always just ploughed my own furrow. I actually, saying that, a big tipping point for me was the Troy in Edinburgh in the early 90s when Cy Laurie took it on, and I got a call from Jim Sutherland, who was my hero, another one of my heroes from the Easy Club days, and I suddenly got a phone from Jim, and I'm like, of course I'll come down to a session. The Tron and the Wrigley sisters were there.
Yeah.
Everyone was there, and in the Tron all the jazzers came and hung out with us. And in that early 90s, all the DJs and the chefs as well, everyone was there. We were all out really late, we were out all night, because in Edinburgh the pubs didn't shut till 3, and you could just go.
How did you see yourself?
That's a really interesting question, that as a musician in his 40s, how do you remain relevant? Because all these young people are coming up all the time. How do you keep on doing what you do? And I think what I've decided is that I'm not going to worry about that.
Right.
Because I really believe in making music that I love, and I'll put it out there whether anybody else likes it or not.
Do you feel
I'm the same as you? I am a traditionalist. Although I love to experiment and play weird music, at heart I love the music for what it is.
The traditional tunes.
Yeah, I love it. I love taking the chances and making new sounds and everything, but actually I love traditional music. And that's where my heart is. I think what marks us out, well, I suppose you could technically, there's different things in tunes and there's keys that we play on, which marks us out from Ireland, Scotland, Brittany and all that. But I think in terms of traditional music and Celtic traditional music, I think we've got so many similarities. it's all about the sharing and the community. When you watch the Bretons play, they're all smiling and listening to each other. You watch the Irish, it's all the same. It's all about unison. It's all about dancing.
We've actually got more in common with these other countries or places than we have different.
I definitely think so, yeah. I think the future for Scottish music is looking really good. I think the more and more people are playing, which is fabulous, more young people. I think we're actually, one of the really interesting points for me nowadays in traditional music is we have all the young people playing, but at the other end of the scale, we have all the older musicians in their 80s and their 90s, and their experience is there for everyone to talk to learn from. I think that's amazing actually. So we've got a really, from a cradle to grave opportunity.
And it wasn't always like that, was it? Because there was big swathes of people, 30 years ago that didn't play traditional music.
Well, that's right. Well, when I started I started the bagpipes when I was 9, and obviously there's a lot of young people playing the bagpipes then. I would thought, and the BBs, but when I started the concertina, there was hardly anyone. And when I went down to England in 1987 to the very first Radio 2 Young Folk Award, I think there was maybe 12 in it, and they had 10 or 11 of us playing. Catherine Tickell was amazing actually. She, in many ways, Catherine Tickell really blazed a trail for young musicians and worked really, really hard and helped that Radio 2 Young Folk Awards come about. When I think back these days, there was hardly any of us, and that has just blossomed. I think that's all great, and there's the usual caveats though. Industry-wise, it's difficult. There's still not enough gigs. Industry is changing at the moment very much so, from the traditional record company formats to how do musicians deal with streaming services like Spotify, download iTunes, Amazon. All of that is all totally changing. What is the purpose of a CD nowadays? Is it for sale? Is it for promotional purposes? I think there's lots of questions out there that have to be answered. I'm a TV mogul.
Yeah.